morning and welcome to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I'm David Lovejoy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rhonda Lahnert.
And Chuck's a little under the weather, but joining us is the chief of the Amarillo Fire Department, Chief Mays, and Jeff Justice, a firefighter with that excellent crew. Guys, welcome. How are y'all doing today?
Morning. How are you?
Cannot complain. Cannot complain. This is kind of really, to be honest, for you guys, this is starting to creep into your busy season, isn't it?
It is thankfully we've had some moisture lately, but yeah, even with that moisture, we do see an uptick even now with the dryness and the winds and all that. So yeah, we're not expecting much of a break or much of a reprieve from that recent rain.
I tell you what, also one of the things, and it amazed me just looking over the years at the numbers, just because the temperature is warming up a little bit, those fires and those abandoned houses, the numbers really don't drop off as what we think. People are still going into those homes, even in 80 and 90 degree weather and setting cooking fires or whatever. You're still seeing quite a bit of that, aren't you?
Yes, sir. It's, we would expect as it warms up to see that drastic decline, but it's over the last few years, it really seems to have picked up pace for whatever reason. And of course, we will see a spike once it starts getting cooling off again. But yeah, so there are times it just doesn't really feel like it slows down.
So what are, it seems obvious, but talk to us about what are the reasons that we want to curtail this type of behavior when it comes to setting fires in buildings and going into abandoned places?
I want to tag Jeff. I know Jeff will have a good answer for that as well. So.
Good reasons for it? I don't think there are any good reasons for them being in an abandoned structure, but I think it's just not wanting to comply with rules. There are plenty of shelters around town, plenty of places for them to get help, assistance, food, all those types of things. But if they don't want to play by the rules, then they break into an abandoned house or a business and they cook in there. They, do whatever they're doing in there and catches it on fire. So I don't really think there are any good reasons for it.
So, no, I don't think they're good reasons either. Let me ask you a question just based on an experience that I have. My parents don't live in their home any longer. And the neighbors had told me that there was a woman that was getting into my parents' garage. And I couldn't find any evidence of, her starting a fire or doing anything like that. But what can I do when I find, so let's say I went over there today and I found that somebody had been there, what would be my course of action to take care of this?
That's a really good question. Honestly, I'm not really familiar with that side of things. As a firefighter, Chief Mays may know better than I do.
My recommended course of action, a lot of it is just that there's a reason why most of the time you don't have squatters in a occupied home, but it's maintaining a presence. What we've learned is this: the folks that want in these homes they're so ingenious to how they get in. We think that it's nearly fireman proof to get in some of these structures, and then we will find somebody that doesn't have a truckload of tools the way that we do, and somehow they find their way inside. My recommendation would be to file a report. You may end up having to post a no trespassing. You can contact the fire marshal's office and they can give you more guidance on that. And if with some of the signs that we're able to post or that you're able to post as the owner, that makes it where it empowers the police department when they are called to be able to make an arrest. And really all you're trying to do is serve as a deterrent for that activity. And honestly, they'll just seem to move on to somewhere else, less watched or less maintained. They'll just move somewhere else to another property, really.
Let me ask both of you guys this question. We've seen recently departments, not only just in this area, but across the country, are trying to recruit, trying to get young people into the fire service. And one of the biggest hampers that we have in our part of the country is the training, making training available. Now, the Amarillo Fire Department, you guys have now started back to having your own training and academy courses?
Yes, and that was kind of a twofold. Number one, even if somebody comes to our organization and they're fully trained and certified, they still learn that according to the state's requirements. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but every department you go has a particular way of doing ultimately the same thing, but they have their ways of doing that. So sometimes you've ever heard it's easier to teach somebody, like if it was an instrument, it's easy to teach somebody that's never picked up a guitar than somebody that's been playing forever and they've got all these different habits and ways of doing things. So when we're able to hire somebody off the street essentially and just train them the way we want to do it, if they're bad habits, they're our bad habits. And I don't think that we're training them to do anything wrong, but we're able to take a blank sheet of paper and really imprint what we're wanting to do out of that. And the other side of that, the reason why we had to start, and we're now in our third academy, is we just were not getting the applicants that we normally were. We had a shortage. We had a year where we had, I think it's around 2019, we had to have 3 concurrent entrance exams, and still we're not able to reach our capacity on the department, which was unheard of before. So this academy is helping us. We are still seeing a decline in interest, so that we're hoping that as we get ready to fire up Academy 4 in January and test for that academy this summer, that we'll be able to ramp up efforts and really promote and push that to our community.
That when I think about the academy and recruiting and things like that, there've been some incidences in recent times where like firefighters were assaulted, shot, and and maybe that went on before, and maybe somehow we didn't hear about it as much. But do you think that any of this is affecting the recruiting numbers? I know sometimes it makes people want to it makes them more determined to be a part of an organization. How do you see this affecting yours?
I think it's like anything. The law enforcement, I think just the nature of an officer's job, you can do everything right and still have somebody frustrated and angry with you. As society changed, and I'm certainly no expert in all that, but I think we saw it play out as violence towards police officers increased. And they're basically showing the trajectory of where we could be if we keep seeing those attacks on first responders, regardless of what agency they're with. I mean, you will see a steeper decline in those that want to join that. The pay may not be what you can find in other areas. So if you combine that with violence, where that's just going to be routine, everyday part of your job, then I could see that really being a deterrent to an already challenged field and trying to get more of our community, more communities everywhere to join in as a first responder.
One of the greatest departments here in our community, the Amarillo Fire Department. Last week, me and Chuck started on an adventure. We're going to be in the first ever Citizens Academy, and this is the first class of it. And I was thinking, both Jeff and the chief, why the first time? It kind of blew my mind that we'd never had the Citizens Academy before. Is this something that goes on in stations across, or is this some model that you guys latched on, or is this all grassroots here in Amarillo?
Jeff, you want to answer that? No, I'll tag on.
Yeah, yes, sir. There are a lot of fire departments around the country that run Citizens Academy, and it's something that I know Chief Mays has wanted to do for quite some time. The timing wasn't right until recently. And now we've got the right people in place to be able to conduct a Citizens Academy. And we're hopeful that it's going to be successful, and we're going to have many more. We already have people asking to be put on the list for the next one, because obviously this first one, we didn't open it up to everyone. We sort of we're just trying to get our feet wet with it. But I think it's a great idea. It really helps us showcase what we do on the fire department, because there's so much of what we do that people don't realize. No matter how many times you say it out loud, the people just still don't realize what we do.
Yeah, it's an important aspect of ours. I'm still laughing about the 800 gallons of water and a monkey in a tree. That's still that tickled me to no end. Explain that to your boss. Did you get the monkey? That's the only question I have.
You're never going to believe this, but
the wet monkey.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you this Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Be careful out there. All right. We'll take a quick break. We're back with more chat right after this.